With minicamp less than 2 weeks away at Hallis Hall, why don't we already start talking about who's going to be fighting for a roster spot? The roster is way better than it was in 2022 for the Chicago Bears, and guys are going to have to work a lot harder in order to make this roster. Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, and company are going to have a lot of decisions to make, and honestly, it's going to depend on play, and I don't think that they're going to be afraid to get rid of some guys that may shock fans. This is going to give players a mental edge about going harder at camp. Coaches are going to see how they handle the pressure and showing that there is a new culture in the Chicago Bears, that they're only taking the absolute best talent that they can. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rohde. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. I cannot wait to attend training camp on July 29th at Hallis Hall. I will be there. Make sure that you go and find me. Tweet me, message me, I don't care, but let's get in contact. Let's meet up because I'm going to be doing interviews at camp and you could be featured on the show. And before we begin today's Camp Cut episode, I would like to ask you to please hit the like button on this video, put your thoughts in the comment section below, and hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 6,000 subscribers. Thank you everyone so much for your support. As always, every 1,000 we do a giveaway. So if you press that subscribe button right now, you enter that one. And also we will be having our major giveaway for first week of the NFL season against the Green Bay Packers. It's going to be something like that with a guy wearing number 1. So you want to make sure that you enter and hit that subscribe button. So let's go to camp and who's going to be fighting for a roster spot. I went with 3 guys today because there's going to be a lot more than that, but these are the names of people that may shock a couple of fans. Number 1, I'm going to start with offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood. Leatherwood was claimed last season off of waivers from the Las Vegas Raiders after being the 17th overall pick in 2021, only spending 1 season in Las Vegas. He hasn't had the best start to his career. Struggled a little bit, did not get up to NFL speed as people wanted. And fun fact, if the Bears didn't take Justin Fields back in 2021, this is the guy I wanted to help revamp the line. There still is a ton of untapped potential there, but he hasn't been able to bring that to the NFL like he had at Alabama. He started all 17 games in 2021 for the Las Vegas Raiders and didn't even make it outside of camp in 2022. He struggled with penalties. He struggled being able to stay on his feet and hold his own ground on the offensive line. And obviously that's protecting the backfield. Poles took a cheap chance on him picking him up off of waivers and is potentially going to be a bigger part of this team. That was Poles' intention. And he played okay in the 4 appearances that he had last year for the Chicago Bears, learning the playbook, dealt with some injuries, all that stuff was put together. Unfortunately, Leatherwood had that against him, but he played okay in the 4 appearances that he had. But is okay going to make this roster go by? No, because this roster is ready to make a playoff push. He does have a big safety hanging over his head, though. Now that it is his 3rd year in the NFL, he does have a major cap hit on the Chicago Bears, which is about $4.5 million. And we know Ryan Poles loves his cap space. So if you're going to be spending that money, you might as well keep the guy on the roster. He does have NFL experience, but Ryan Poles has done a lot of crazy moves before. I could see him potentially trading a 6th or a 7th with Leatherwood for another late round pick to another team that could use some offensive line depth. And, that gets rid of the books for the cap hit, or at least half of it. This is whatever Ryan Poles end up doing. But overall, Leatherwood needs to fight to make this roster. I think he could be a good depth player, but no gimmies out here, and definitely he's on the hot seat. The second guy I'm going to talk about is probably going to be the biggest name that's going to shock fans, but I could see it happening, but I'm wishing him well. Bears have a very busy wide receiver room in 2023, and with the resigning of Dante Pettis and ESB this past offseason, it makes that selection even more difficult. Velus Jone Jr. is my second guy that I'm going to talk about today after a very interesting 2022 rookie season. Any player walking into a rebuild team that's supposed to be a role player is under immense pressure, and it definitely got to him at times. He particularly fumbled away 2 of the Bears games last year, which I guess thanks for the number 1 overall pick, but still no excuse at the NFL level that you should be having mistakes like that. And that definitely made his stock take a big hit. Jones was hand selected by Justin Fields working with Ryan Poles in the 2022 offseason when Fields said, "This is the guy I want in my room." So there's even more pressure that your quarterback wanted you there and you weren't able to make it happen. What I mean by not making it happen is here are his 2022 stats. And by the way, there is no doubt that Valis Jones Jr. has a ton of agility, ton of ability, and his speed is out of this world. But you need to make that perform. In 2022, his receiving stats was 7 receptions in 17 games. Okay, let's keep that in mind. 107 yards total for 15.3 yards per catch. Not bad from a yards per catch perspective. He had 1 touchdown and 1 drop. Not terrible, but again, only 7 receptions. That falls a little bit on Luke Getsy, but also staying on the field in order to play on the field and make those more receptions is what's going to make you a better wide receiver. Rushing, which I didn't really agree with at a lot of times for Luke Getsy's strategy, but he had 9 attempts for 103 yards and 7.3 yards per carry. If that's what you want to do, Velus Jones, and that's what you want to do, Luke Getsy, make him a running back, which that's also the next subject I'm getting into, which is great stats, but also you're a wide receiver. We need him to have way more receptions, way more receiving yards, way more receiving touchdowns. Kick return, punt return is where his stock took the biggest hit. 5 punt returns for 35 yards with 2 fumbles. He was pulled from that duty right after the second fumble that fumbled away another game, but his kick return wasn't too bad. 22 kick returns for 607 yards with also a fumble as well. Not ideal. That also was a game-changing play. So Butterfingers were not in Velus Jones' ability. I mean, he might have been eating a few before the game. I don't know if he's a Butterfingers guy or not, but the sports term Butterfingers definitely hurt Velus Jones Jr. stuff. I really like V12. I really want it to work out for him. I've said that before, but right now it's not looking favorable in his position. He's going to have to fight. I'm excited for him. Before we get into the last player, we want to thank Freshie Organic Tequila Seltzer for sponsoring this episode. The drink of the summer, in my opinion, is something you don't want to miss. The only organic tequila on the market, which was born in Chicago, Illinois, and is taking over every part of the nation like the Chicago Bears are doing in the NFL. Make sure to run to your local Binny's or Jewel-Osco to get 99 calories of either grapefruit, guava, blood orange, habanero, or lime. Must be 21 to drink. It is fantastic. Highly suggested for you guys. Make sure to go get some Freshie today. And finally, the last guy I'm talking about today is running back Trestan Ebner. Like the wide receiver room, the running back room is absolutely packed at the moment. Ryan Poles stuck with Khalil Herbert, went out and got Deontay Foreman, Rashawn Johnson, Travis Homer, and obviously then we have Trestan Ebner. Teams don't really need a lot of running backs. You can put them all on the practice squad, and I think that's where Ebner is probably going to end up if he's not cut roster. Homer was brought in on a 2-year contract from the Seattle Seahawks, mainly specializing in special teams, but he is a very good running back when called upon. Herbert, Foreman, and Johnson seem to be the favorited guys as of right now. According to the Bears media, they had a couple carousels of their running backs, and those are the guys who seem to be favorited at the moment. Ebner got a few chances last year. Didn't do much with them. 24 rushing attempts for 54 yards and 0 touchdowns is not ideal. He was more of a special teams guy. He has a lot to prove at camp if he wants to stay on this roster. Likely going to be a practice squad guy, and I'm wishing him the best as well. Same with everybody else. Put your thoughts in the comment section below about who you think the Chicago Bears should cut and if they should keep any of these 3 players. But with that, thank you very much for joining this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Nick Rody, and we'll see you guys next time.